Mr. Speaker. Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Louis County, what reason do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Clay.
Gentleman Clay, what reason do you rise?
Speak against the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Now, Mr. Speaker, I've sat here quiet for most of this debate today, but I'm going to speak on this issue because it is very important. And I would invite my friend, my colleague from the gentleman Jackson, the colleague from Boone. The great orator Cicero said, a true friend will not encourage a friend in a course of bad action. And I would encourage my friends to heed these words. We have a very generous program in this state. We're above the national average in what we do for children in this state. So what do they say about Missouri and Texas? They say you're above the national average. That's the facts. You go to the Kaiser Family Foundation on state facts. That's the truth. 35% of Missouri's children are covered under Medicaid and S-CHIPs. That's nearly 500,000 children in this state. 35%. And when you add in the other programs we make available to children in this state, that number rises to 52% of all the children in this state. We are very generous in the state of Missouri. Despite all that's gone on in the economy, we are very, very generous. And not once have I read in the papers has anybody pointed out the number of children that we serve. And not once have they ever pointed out it's 35% of our population. They always go with the little sound bites and don't talk about the rest of the problem. The rest of the problem is this drunken ideal that just spending and spending will solve the problem. We will just tax ourselves and draw down the federal money. It's our money, we'll draw it down. We'll go back to that very same cycle we were in leading up into the 2002-2004 era. When the state budget was broken and we were in a financial ditch and we couldn't pay our bills and we had to make the difficult decisions. And we did that, and yet we maintained a very generous program. Right now, if a child goes in and they're not enrolled, they've got presumptive eligibility. We just voted that on again. Right now, in this state, we're doing a lot for children. And for us to go back to spending money to draw down money, we'll break our budget again. And the short-term elixir that drunkens us and makes us feel good is our enemy. It's not good, it breaks the banks. Those hospitals will be back here asking us again. And I hate to raise my voice, but apparently that's what you do to get listened to here. But they will come back again and ask for more money because the costs are escalating. And costs are escalating, Mr. Speaker, because the debate in this body is being led by a group that says, who should pay? That's the only question they ask. And in Congress they ask, who should pay? They don't ask why prices are high. They don't ask the tough questions. They don't want to take on the industries that benefit from monopolies in the healthcare marketplace. Is there an antitrust action going on against the insurance industry and their draconian referral agreements that drive up price? No, there's not. They're saying, we'll just throw money in. We'll just pay. They're not asking why prices are high. They're saying, we'll play that spin game where we spend money to draw down money. Yeah, it's bankrupted half the states in this union. Yeah, California has $40 billion in debt, but we'll just run up the cash. And then you know what we get to do? We get to do what we're doing now in Congress. We're borrowing money, borrowing it from China. And now we're monetizing our debt, borrowing money to pay off borrowed money. You know what that does to the dollar? Deflates it. If any of you read your history and you saw what it was like and read what it was like in post-World War I Europe, where a loaf of bread cost you a barrel full of cash, a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy bread. It was cheaper to burn your cash and save your wood because your wood had more value. That's what we're doing in Congress. And when we stand out on this floor and we bite off on that bait and say, take those federal dollars, soak them up, spend them. We'll do it. It'll get us elected next year. By God, we'll have the majority. We'll be somebody. I can be a chairman. Well, all we've done is we played that game. We played that game of who pays. And the government pays, and we all lose. But if we want to be strong, we will balance this budget. We will tell Congress, we're not going to take the bait. We're not going to get drunk on that money and do dumb things. We are going to keep it simple. We are going to stick to some principles. And we're going to fight the fight about why prices are high in healthcare. We're going to take on the insurance industry. We're going to ask the hospitals that have monopolies to come to the table and give up some of their game. And we can tackle price. That's the debate. But nobody wants to have that because it's not politically easy. and to get the press to write about it. They won't write about it. It's too complicated. But you know what you can write about? The 20,000 kids suspected of not health care. And forget the 500,000 that do receive it. We'll spend that congressional money. We'll bring it down. And yeah, in a year when we're all hung over from our drunken spending spree, we're hung over and our headaches come in, the prices come down.
Gentlemen, your time has expired. Further?
Well, I'm glad everybody wants to hear this debate. I want to hear this debate, and I relish what my colleagues across the aisle have to say. But I don't want to wake up with a hangover, with a broken program, and have to talk about throwing people off the system again. Why? Because we said, who pays? We argued about who pays. We didn't ask why price was high. We took the money and we ran. We don't have to be that way. We can be strong. And it might be painful, but we can survive if we stick to our principles. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Jefferson?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I was going to yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Clay, but since the budget chair did it, I'll give 2 minutes to the gentleman from St. Louis City.
Gentleman